Call of Duty has one of the most innovative evolutions within its series. Now you might be wondering, what does that mean? Let me explain it to you. Everything must start and everything must come. The thing about Call of Duty Zombies is, well, everything started perfectly and, in my opinion, has ended perfectly. The thing about Call of Duty Zombies is, well, it has a lot of content within it. I mean, literally think about it. There's like just so many games and so many maps, but let's start off with Nocturne Tone, the first map. What did this bring exactly? How did this change the series in general? Well, let's start off first. I mean, you have the mystery box and look at my hand right now, the ray gun. This weapon was absolutely so iconic to many people. Even if you didn't play zombies, you knew exactly what the ray gun was. You knew if you played it once and you got the ray gun, you know you were having it. Nocturne Tone doesn't offer much, but the thing that it does offer is, well, the whole experience of zombies. Zombies wasn't exactly a thing before, World at War, and it brought it. And a lot of people can be a lot of appreciative feelings towards it. I mean, I love it. I love the series, and Nocturne Tone is one of the maps that just started it all. I mean, it doesn't offer all too much, but in the grand scheme of things, it did offer the most. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it does have a lot to bring, and if you can't realize that, you should pick up a book. Now, Verrückt is definitely something different, and the series definitely does pick up with this edition, and it's crazy to think this is only the second map that came out, and well, we already get a ton of things, and like you see on your screen right now, perks. I mean, Perca-Colas, everybody knows these things. I mean, Juggernog, Speed Cola, Double Tap, Quick Revive. They may have not done as well as they do now, but I mean, everywhere's got to start everywhere, right? Now, the thing about this is they didn't just add Perca-Colas within this map. I mean, you had power, the whole horror aspect of this. Everything was great about this map, and a lot of people don't really realize it, but Verrückt does bring a lot. And well, I mean, traps, perks, all of it really starts with this. Now, you may not like it as a whole, but it is definitely something interesting, the whole concept of Verrückt. Now, spawning, you do split up, which is something completely different and something we don't even see till this day. We only seen it about once or twice, and Verrückt's in that situation. 2 rooms, 2 people in each one, depending on how you play, and if you're in co-op or not. It definitely will depend on that, obviously. But other than that, Verrückt is a very small map, yet it does bring a pretty fun experience, I would say. It does have a lot of flow, I would say. I wouldn't exactly say that in a whole sense, but the whole flow and the startup of zombies is what I really mean by this. I mean, literally, this map is so horrifying and terrifying. I couldn't even play it as a child. I mean, most of us couldn't. But the thing about this map that really I am trying to say is it really did bring life to the series. Nocturne Tone sure did the job, right? But it didn't have perks, it didn't have traps, didn't have any of these extra little things that added gameplay. I mean, let's be honest, Noct isn't exactly the most fun game to play. I mean, literally, you spend 10 minutes just trying to get to round 5. It doesn't really happen too much, but with Verrückt, things pick up. You got 4 perks. A lot of more fun experiences can be had with Verrückt, and as you can tell, the series picks up a little bit quicker than normal, and eventually, leading towards the release of Black Ops 1, we can see and appreciate Verrückt for what it is. A lot of people bash the map for being a little too hard, but in my opinion, I feel like that's what Treyarch wanted, and that's the thing they were really trying to root for in this map, is something terrifying yet bringing a lot to the table. It's not a lot, just genuinely speaking, but what it did bring was something that would evolve into all the other maps, perks, all that good stuff. But it is kind of upsetting to see how little in actuality it was, but in reality it was something really big, which was really nice. Now, Shi No Numa, on the other hand, is one of the more slept on maps, and not too many people really look to it about bringing too much. I mean, let's be honest, perks were already introduced, traps were, weapons, the mystery box. I mean, what else can this map bring? Now, while this map may kind of lack on sort of how the actual gameplay exists within the other maps, I mean, you do have sort of the chaotic nature was brought into this map. And if these zombies can literally just back up for 1 second, oh my god, I'm literally just trying to record. Can you guys back up? Jesus. The thing about this map is, well, it does have evolving locations within perks. I know that sounds a little weird to say and even confusing myself here, but every time you boot up Shi No Numa, you do not know what you're gonna get. I mean, I didn't even know the Flogger could not kill zombies. Like, am I just an idiot or am I just an idiot? Every time you boot up this map, every time you go to a fishing hut, any of the other huts around the map, you will find and see that the perks will spawn, literally. I mean, it's weird. And with the World at War version, I know I'm playing Black Ops 3 here, but come on, let's just listen here. You don't even get quick revive off the start. Quick revive doesn't even revive you, to be honest. You gotta pick it up, and it's just for co-op. And another thing that this map does bring is water. Never did anybody ask for water, but for some reason we just got it. I mean, I'm literally going down because of it. Okay, you see how bad it is? You can't run in it. You know, the Flogger is a really great addition, even though I did mention it is a trap, and those have already been brought within Verruct. This is one of the more serious traps and ones that a lot of people can remember, I would say, at least out of all things considering. This is one of the traps that have been a staple within zombies and are littered in a bunch of custom maps, and a lot of maps do try to imitate this trap itself. You know, one hit kill, constant, cheap, but also doesn't last very long. But you know, you get what you pay for, right? And that's what Shi No Numa is. Now we have the one and only Durice. Now everybody knows and loves Durice, okay? If there isn't one person who hasn't heard of Durice, they're probably smoking crack, let's be honest here. The thing about Durice is it brings one thing that nothing else could have, and well, we all know and love it. Pack-a-Punch. Pack-a-Punch is one of the best introductions to zombie perks. You know, those do pretty cool things, right? They make you last a little bit longer, but that's the player itself. It's not the actual weapon. See, there's only 4 players maximum within a game, but there's about 30 to 40-ish guns in a game. You see how much variety that can bring to just at least one game? You know, you have multiple games like Black Ops 1, 2, 3, all that nonsense. It adds a lot, okay? You do have 40 weapons, but pack-a-punching them, technically you have 80. So there's that. I mean, Durice really did evolve in ways we didn't think that could happen. I mean, we had multiplayer and seeing how much damage things could do, but at the end of the day, Pack-a-Punch was it. I mean, all you had to do was measly teleport around the map 3 times as shown, and all you had to do is pay a slight 5,000 points. It seems like a lot, but oh, you were getting your bang for your buck. This is an amazing system. The Treyarch held on and still holds on to this day. I mean, literally, you make any weapon good. I mean, not necessarily good, but I mean, it makes a lot of weapons a lot better, and great weapons even better. That's the crazy thing about it. Now, another thing that Durice brings besides a Pack-a-Punch that is well evolved, I mean, we can all agree with this, especially with Black Ops 3, is Easter eggs. Now, you might be thinking, where the hell are the Easter eggs at? The very introduction Easter eggs was on Durice with the teddy bear Easter egg with Samantha. All you had to do was just simply shoot a couple bears in certain spots, you know, all that nonsense. It was very small, and it sounds very small, and it is, but this was the introduction that would be brought into Ascension later in the video. I will talk about that, but just to go on continuously about Durice itself, I mean, this is absolutely one of the most iconic maps. I mean, literally, the Bowie knife introduced here. I mean, it's not that good after round 12, but I mean, gets the job done. Not really. But the thing about this map that made it so iconic is, well, I'm standing on it. The catwalk was a small introduction, and I believe Treyarch did this intentionally. I mean, camping was pretty alright within Nocturne until you kind of had next to the couch, which you never open up the stairs. But the catwalk was a very, very narrow path. No zombies would spawn behind you, none on the sides, only in the front. Now, you could see how overpowered this is, especially with bouncing Bettys. It was pretty crazy back in the day. But Kino der Toten, I mean, this got even crazier. I mean, people were just losing it for this map. I mean, for the base set of Black Ops 1, you just paid the $59.99 for the game, and well, you got Kino der Toten. It is an absolutely banger of a map, and even though it is a little overrated, I mean, it does bring a lot of things. I mean, literally the thunder gun. I mean, who doesn't know and love this gun? I mean, it does a lot of damage, and it's the best, oh my god, I'm stuck in a corner, get me out situation. Literally, nothing beats this weapon in terms of just damage. I mean, this thing literally screams it moans, it goes literally everywhere. I mean, you have any zombie in your way, any Nova Crawler, any Pesk, this thing's gonna get them out of your way. And the thing about this map too is, well, it added a bunch of lore to, well, know what's going on within the map. I mean, Hellhounds, they're pretty cool, and even though they were introduced in Shi no Numa, so it's not as evolving and innovative as a map, you know, as some people say, it's still pretty good. And well, I mean, we had this crazy Easter egg, and this was really building up to what Black Ops 1 would leave as a legacy. I mean, most people look to this map alone to see how good Black Ops 1 is. It is an absolute banger of a map, but even though it does mainly copy the things on Der Riese, as it was going to be a World at War map, the more you know, by the way, and I'm awful at this game, just letting that be known, this map didn't offer too much alone difference between Der Riese. It's a little upsetting to think, but the main thing that you really do get with this map is just the experience alone. I mean, they're very similar, Der Riese and Kino, but I mean, you do have some differences like the Zeus cannon. The ray gun is on that, but you know, and the Wunderwaffe, but you don't really get it with this map. You get the same perks, a little bit different of weapons, Pack-a-Punch, different style, but ultimately same thing. I mean, the teleporter situation, they're literally the same exact thing. I don't know what else to say here. I mean, it's pretty close, but it's still a really good map, and its iconicism led a lot of people to fall in love with this map. It didn't evolve too much, but the other maps are really, really what bring that. I mean, let's be honest here. Kino doesn't bring too much to the table, but it's got more. Now, 5. I mean, I don't know what to say with this map. It is pretty crazy, and what I mean by that, this is one of the most chaotic maps. You remember when I was talking about Shi no Numa and how, you know, perks move around? That's nothing compared to this map. I mean, this map has a literal pentagon thief. And you might be thinking, well, what's that? It's a guy who runs around with goggles on and just steals your weapons. That's it. He's a special boss. He's pretty crazy. The great thing about this map too is, although it doesn't exactly live up to Kino, it does provide more than Kino. I mean, you literally have bonfire cells, the Pentagon Thief, the Winter's Howl. Even though it's bad, I mean, it's still something. It adds different characters. I mean, we've had the same characters since World at War within Varuk, or Shi no Numa actually. But yeah, we have different people. I mean, we literally have John F. Kennedy, you know, Robert De Niro, Fidel Castro. Pretty iconic characters. Not even just that alone. I mean, we didn't think of too much of the people we were playing as. Like, we were literally playing as like presidents and, you know, what are those stupid things called? Dictators. Yeah, that. Okay. I brought a lot, and even though a lot of people don't like it because it's hard, it does add something that we haven't had before, and that's a layered map. A lot of maps now base their map structure off just simply alone having layers. I mean, who likes playing on the same flat surface? Not a lot of people, and 5 is what really introduced that. I mean, you could say Varuk, but at the end of the day, I mean, you're not really going under the ground with, you know, stupid elevators and all that. Nothing too much of a difference, but this is the map that sort of evolves more into, well, Ascension. I mean, Ascension was the map that brought it all. I mean, you have everything on this map. You thought Kino was crazy? You thought Der Riese was crazy? This map with friends? Don't even get me started. I mean, these stupid space monkeys, PhD flopper, all this great stuff. I mean, literally just a Pack-a-Punch, you fly around on 3 little stupid escalators, and I swear to God, if these zombies don't let me just get in and just record something cosmetic, Jesus. Okay, but I mean, it adds a lot of things that are sort of similar. I mean, the sequel, it is basically the Bowie knife, just reskinned. It is a lot cooler, but I mean, just Pack-a-Punching on this map, it did bring a lot extra to the, you know, table. I mean, you literally have just simple things, and it really works out with this map. I mean, PhD Flopper was one of the best additions. Now, I know I'm playing Black Ops 3, but the ray gun, you literally can destroy the rocket ship, okay? And that's not even just talking about PhD Flopper alone. PhD Flopper with the ray gun literally teared. I mean, Pack-a-Punch was as simple as literally 1, 2, 3. The Vertriska dolls, the Gersh devices, they were absolute banger of tactical additions to the game. Fortunately, you do have to spin them from the box, and it can be a pain, but you can also get lucky. I mean, they do tons of damage, yourself included, without PhD. They do a pretty good job. And speaking of all additions, I mean, the monkeys, I mean, this was something that was absolutely so much more different. I mean, we've had dogs, Nova crawlers, monkeys? Are you for real? What did they bring? Oh yeah, perks. If you didn't let these little rascals tackle all of your perks, you had a free perk. That could be PhD, you know, double tap, speed cola, quick revive even. I mean, literally everything about this map was great. A lot of people liked it. I mean, you thought the Kino stage was really cool. You thought that was amazing. Well, let me introduce you to the launch pad. I mean, this thing is absolutely so much fun to just train on. I mean, a lot of people know this spot particularly just because that, and even if you go down, you have PhD Flopper right next to you. So even though you don't have quick revive or jug, if you have that ray gun, which, you know, all of us do, or the Mustang and Sally, you were pretty much set to go grab those. I mean, it was literally a get out of jail free card. It really was. Absolute fan favorite. I mean, there's a couple people who didn't like it, but let me tell you something. I mean, not a whole lot of people like Deadshot, and that's a respectable reason. But in Cold War, I mean, we wouldn't have Deadshot Decree if it wasn't for Call of the Dead. I mean, this map brought a lot, actually. I mean, we've had a couple wonder weapons, you know, in the past on each map. I mean, we've had the same one on Ascension, not very innovative, but I mean, this, you had the VR-11, literally a wonder weapon that could turn enemies, yes, zombies, into humans, and the zombies, the ones not turned, would go after that one. Ultimately, a walking monkey bomb, the scavenger, a sniper rifle, bolt that would shoot explosive bolts. I mean, how absolutely cool is that? I mean, if you had Scavenger and PhD, it's pretty good. Now, Shangri-La, on the other hand, this map alone is just so beautiful. I mean, if this isn't innovative itself, I don't know what is. Shangri-La did bring a lot to the table, and not a lot of people liked it because of that. I mean, it was pretty painful, I'm not gonna lie. It had a lot of issues when it came in the term of the casual player. I mean, zombies getting past round 25 in a co-op lobby isn't really gonna happen. I mean, let's be honest, with the vast majority of ourselves, have we made it past round 40, round 30 with the 4-player lobby? Didn't think so, but that doesn't mean it did not bring a lot of innovation to the table. I mean, Shangri-La, this was like the giant evolution of Black Ops 1. I mean, things were blossoming into what would be Moon and Black Ops 2. But to start us off simply, I mean, you had this small starting room, and well, if you stayed in here very long and you got power-ups, it didn't really matter. The monkeys were going to take them. Shriekers littered in the map. They literally are a walking stun grenade. I mean, literally, I die because I'm so bad at the game. The Shriekers, they cause that. They're awful, okay? Now, the thing about Shriekers is they're not very, you know, spongy, but at the same time, they kind of are. It's weird. The napalm zombies are really what gets you. But the monkeys, I mean, these little shitheads, I mean, I swear, if I had $1 for every time they stole a max ammo of mine, I would literally be rich. I mean, the cool thing about these, even though they are really annoying, you can get perks from them. The napalm zombies, now these are a really weird zombie. You can use these to your advantage, but you can also hurt yourself significantly. I mean, literally, you can die within like 2 seconds of standing within the napalm burst of itself. I mean, that's literally where the ammo mod comes from, by the way, too. If you didn't know that, that's pretty cool, too. Now, the very thing about this map that a lot of people don't like is the pack-a-punch system. You see these blocks? You see all 3 of them? There's a 4th. I can't find it. Never can I find it. And if you do find it, you know, if you're not on solo, you will be congratulated with Pack-a-Punch, which is in Spawn, which is also another innovation that this map brought. Not a lot of people think about it, but you literally get a Pack-a-Punch, and one of the best wonder weapons, statistically speaking. I mean, it's an infinite damage wonder weapon. You have a slide within the map. I mean, who wouldn't like this? I mean, it seems all good all around, right? You have a baby gun. It literally tears them up, but this map is littered with traps. You see this? A mud pit? A literal mud pit. You can't move in this unless there are these stupid tiles that just kind of lets you walk on them if they do. I mean, they have their own mind. Like, they really have their own mind. Like, you really can't make this up. It's like Ted. It's literally like Ted. Shangri-La does bring a lot to the table, mainly pain, to be honest, but regardless of that, it does bring a lot. But one of the things it does lack, unfortunately, which the others maps do a lot better, is you can get across this map in 40 seconds. Yeah, you're seeing chopped up and slopped gameplay, but this is 40 seconds of me running. Literally running across the map. It's very small, not very good on that. Dun, 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 dun. Oh yeah, baby. You know what this means? Because I do. Now, Moon is one of the great expansions of Black Ops 1. I mean, this is literally the freaking moon we're talking about here. That alone should be just one reason why it's on. It can literally cover the whole list. Whoever would think we'd be playing on the moon? That itself is evolutionary. We thought planets, scary asylums, you know, the Himalayas, all that was crazy. The freaking moon. And the crazy thing about this is you can literally get Jug when you spawn. You can get Speed Cola while you spawn, but you're thinking, oh wait, what do I do if I don't get the other one? If I doesn't matter. They have alternating flips, so every time you teleport there's another time you'll get it. Pack-a-punch is in spawn. The crazy thing about this map, you can literally get Pack-a-punch off the spawn. You get Mustangs entirely that easy. Another weird thing about this map that innovates it and changes the gameplay is the saws within the map. You have a hacker device, which is godsend. I mean, this thing clears them all the way, but these saws will make the rooms with zero gravity, the ones that do have gravity alone, into that, so you won't have air in them, so you have to keep on your toes within this map. As you can see with the gameplay, I'm only jumping around like I'm in space, but I'm in a room. Another great thing about the hacker is, well, you can hack perks you don't want. You see that? And you get your money back. Literally. I mean, this map brings a lot. I mean, if you get tired of using Gersh devices, which are so powerful, you literally have a wave gun. Blue or red, your choice. Cherry or blue raspberry. These babies are here for you. Infinite damage. They have tons of damage. And if you run out of ammo that, you have a wave gun that literally cooks them into popcorn. Like, do you see that? They're literally just everywhere. And honestly, you would think the moon wouldn't have a lot of space, but it does. I mean, you have a literal giant plant area. It's like a giant green room. And the crazy thing about this too is you can jump in it. You can literally just be flung into the air. I mean, this map brought so much to the table. And if you were tired of your, Kino experience, Moon was your boy. You bought him and you had so much fun with him. You had PhD on this map. Everything you had before, you had it in the other maps. But this brought even more on top of that. I mean, you have a literal AI who follows you around and tries to take your perks. He's really annoying. He sneaks up on you. I don't know why they added him. He's kind of cool, but he's an innovation, okay? He's evolving within zombies, okay? That's how good it is. Now, the thing about Moon is, it does bring a lot, but what always comes must go. I mean, we have literal transit. Transit is one of those maps that we were like, oh boy, with all the cool Easter eggs going on with Black Ops 1, literally destroying planet Earth, we would do good. Nah. Transit is one of the worst things about Black Ops 2. Now, this is where it starts to decline just a little bit. I mean, Black Ops 1 was pushing out bangers, but Transit, it doesn't bring all too much to the table. I mean, you have a jet gun, as you can see. It's the only wonder weapon that breaks in COD history. Fun fact, you use it, you break it. I don't know why they thought of this. EMPs were added to the game, Tombstone was added, but these were all not really needed additions. It wasn't exactly an innovation that was wanted or even welcomed, to be honest. And it didn't play that well, and the map didn't either. The map layout was terrible. Now, if you want to know something else about terrible, Die Rise. I could go on and show you the gameplay, but it's literally just so awful. But I mean, I guess I have to show you. The thing about Die Rise is it actually does bring some pretty cool things to the gameplay, but it does add a lot of lackluster things within the game. Now, I'm not trying to just make this bashing the map, but Number one, you have a weapon that slips enemies, which is actually pretty powerful. Don't get me started on it. But you can slip off the map. PhD is an option. Nope, just kidding. It's in a spot you can't get it. They evolved backwards within this map, same as Transit in a way. I mean, it does have some fun experiences, at least for me. I have a lot of nostalgia on this map, but overall, it takes away from the experience. And who's who? It's literally just Tombstone, but worse. This map doesn't really bring anything to Black Ops 2. This really brought zombies backwards. And it's kind of sad to say, it really did. Now, another thing that did not bring zombies backwards, but enhancedly forward, is Mob of the Dead. I mean, this map brought story, arc, additional random characters that actually had a great story and arguably better story. I mean, this map brought so much. I mean, you had Electric Cherry, the Blundergat, the Warden, all this good stuff, and that's not even additionally adding the Hell's Retriever, one of the best tactical rifles. I mean, it was amazing. We had these great characters. Everything about the map was good. Literally going to the Golden Gate Bridge for Pack-a-Punch. It was the best training spot you could ever get. I mean, Ascension was great, but you have the Golden Gate Bridge, which was really good itself. Now on to the evolutions within this map. I mean, I kind of already brought them up, but this map was really the layout that really COD Black Ops 3 really went for. I mean, heavy Easter egg, sort of simplistic, but really going for a story arc. I mean, this map was evolving zombies in a very good way, at least in my opinion. I mean, the arc of the story, that just overall just understanding was a lot higher within the community within this map. I mean, it was really short and simple, and the map did bring a lot. Even though it was particularly just one experience, it brought a lot more than, say, Die Rise and Transit ever could. I mean, it was amazing. You didn't even have to have quick revive in this map. Like, literally the one thing that everybody loves, they took it away. And you know what it did? It made the gameplay better. Like, how do you do that? Really, how do you do that? The gameplay itself was really fun, to be honest. I mean, you did have a lot to just use, and it wasn't just Mob of the Dead alone. I mean, you had Grief with this map also. It wasn't a giant additional, something to play, but it was something that you had, and something that was welcomed by a lot of people. I was one of those people as well. The Ray Gun Mark II was also added within this map, so Treyarch was getting a little bit inventive with their wonder weapons, and it started to show a little bit later. But I mean, literally the Blundergat, you can upgrade it in 2 forms or 3 forms, depending on your choice of how bad you actually want to sweat within the game, which is really cool because this map can be a casual map, and it also can be a sweat map, which is one of the great things that Treyarch took from it. It really is. Now, Buried, on the other hand, is just a great map. Honestly, it is a really good map. It adds a lot. I mean, you remember how I talked about 5, how you're under the ground? I mean, this map literally takes it to heart. You are within the African region, and you're in American boomtown. I mean, they were really smoking crack with this one, let's be honest with ourselves. This map, you can literally craft your own guns. You can draw them. I mean, I don't know what else to say. This map really did bring a lot to the table. I mean, the Paralyzer, the Vulture Aid, additional perks, unlimited perks, technically speaking, if you farm the Witch House, which was one of the cool additions within this map that often brought players terrified to go there. I mean, I remember being a kid and not wanting to go there. I'm like, hold up, let me go deposit within the bank, which also was a great addition. It wasn't just directly on Buried alone, but it was an addition within Buried itself. You had tons and tons of traps to craft. It was a really good experience. I mean, it added the head chopper, which wasn't exactly amazing, but you also had the sonic subsidizer, which paired with the turbine from what's that stupid map called? Transit. And I mean, it was literally a thunder gun you just placed. Jug was fairly easy to get. Leroy was a great addition to the game as well. He cleared obstacles, held the box down for you, crafted buildables for you. I mean, this map literally has everything. It's the best casual experience, and it has one of the first super Easter eggs within Black Ops Zombies, which is such a crazy thing because, well, I mean, those are kind of staples now. They're within Black Ops 4, 3, and also 2, which they added in this. It's really cool, and they also did bring perma perks as well, which is everything that really Treyarch really wanted to do, it feels like, from the beginning. I mean, it really gets a little bit wild here. Just the whole atmosphere of the map is really innovative, and this map really does bring a lot to the table that other maps don't. Regardless if you like the Victus crew or not, this was one of the experiences that you had to have. It was the best one, and a lot of players loved it a lot. I mean, even though it's not really, you know, a great thing, this map did also bring a lot of glitches, and they were really fun. I mean, some of the other maps don't really bring that, and, you know, I will take it. Buried was a really solid, innovative map. Oh my god, Origins, baby. Oh man, this map adds so much. It innovated everything. This is where zombies truly evolved. If there was a point in time where I'd have to ask you where stuff really hits the fan and goes great and just goes up, it's this map. I mean, we literally get the Ultimus crew, the opposite of Primus. They are their young forms, absolutely shredding zombies up. I mean, this map, just starting off alone, it was already different. It was flipped on its head. You start off with generators rather instead of just a traditional power switch, which honestly was pretty cool. Kept the player on its toes. Zombies would try to clear it. You had literal, are those wrenches? I wonder what those are. You had additional robots in the map. They literally were hundreds of feet tall, and if you got crushed by them, well, we all know what happened. The mystery box itself was flipped. You could say the same about Mob. You could say, you know, the same thing about Origins, but this is the map where it looked really cool and added, you know, a lot of guns like the MGO and the Ray Gun Mark II, which was in Mob as well. But regardless alone, I mean, this map added a Panzer Soldat boss, which was absolutely terrifying. The biggest meme within the COD Zombies community. Watch out, round 8 Panzer on like Buried or Shadows. You know, that's, you know, it added a Panzer, which was really cool and which would be added later into other maps and even in Cold War today. Pretty cool, pretty good addition. He's really bossy, and he was pretty scary back in the day. You know, if you weren't prepared, even if you aren't today, you're still gonna feel the wrath. I mean, to get the Pack-a-Punch alone, you have to turn on all 6 generators. Something different, but oh man, it was so sexy looking. That camo alone would look just out of this park. They really went out of their way. And speaking of that, I mean, the Boom Hilda, traditionally you get the Mustang and Sally, but I mean, this thing was the first time we got a single shot pistol that didn't do explosive damage and was amazing. It even has a sight on it. It's a literal sniper pistol coming in with about 50 shots and about 150 in the reserves. It can go by quick, but then again, I mean, it's literally the Mauser. Just literally go dig one up and Pack-a-Punch it, which this is also the first map to let you get your starter pistol again if you trade it, which is just chef's kiss. I mean, whoever thought of just the idea of just the starting pistol not being able to be kept, I don't know why. It was an awful idea. And the thing about this weapon too, it's a tool. It's not just a weapon. This map is very muddy. One of the things that was also innovated in it, and I don't know why they did, but it helps you traverse. And the staves, literally those wrenches, I mean, this was an absolute mind boggle. You can upgrade these things. These things were absolutely tearing with fire, lightning, wind, and ice. I picked fire just because, I mean, this is the first time we really got it in Zombies, and upgrading it, you know, Kimochi's blood, really good, and even you were able to charge and revive teammates. Like, come on, man, this map did everything well. You have literal air punches. You could be, you know, Jackie Chan. It was just amazing. Origins really did bring a lot to the table. And just the Easter egg too. It literally just starts everything in Black Ops 3. Well, you know, which we're about to get into, gamers. Shadows of Evil. One of the coolest Zombies experiences. I mean, Shadows of Evil just adds everything different. This map, off the start alone, you get this thing called a fumigator, which, you know, your pod plants and stuff, but the bigger picture is the beast. I mean, people were just like, this isn't Zombies. Like, you're literally a freaking giant beast. You're like a giant spaghetti monster. And it was just amazing. The fumigator helped with these pods, which, you know, you figure out within the map as long as you play it. The beast helps you get the rituals, which is ultimately the power within the map, which is actually a pretty cool addition to the game. I mean, you don't really think about it, but you don't have a power switch. You are the power switch. Rituals unlock the Pack-a-Punch, and when you do the rituals, you do have these bosses called Margwas, and Margwas, they were a great addition to Zombies. I mean, they don't look like zombies, trust me, but they are amazing. They are kind of annoying of a mini boss, but they're one of those bosses, they're not too hard, but you got to keep on your toes around them. If you don't have Jug, they can one-hit you. And also, you can have their own head as a mask to just prevent those kinds of catastrophes. I mean, you have a literal giant squid in the sky, and speaking of squid, you have these giant jelly bean monsters that float around. I mean, this map literally did everything different. We used to have Nova Crawlers, Hellhounds, all that nonsense. I mean, this map really just changed it up, and people are so confused. I mean, literally, you have a sword as a weapon. All you had to do was ride a train and just collect symbols to get a sword. In Origins, you know how long you have to go through to get a staff of just fire, ice, anything like that? All you have to do is collect the symbols, just little symbols, and then just kill around it. Widow's Wine also was introduced in this map. I mean, innovation alone, that was all that was needed, was one perk to carry Black Ops 3. Although people wanted more, it wasn't enough. Widow's Wine was one of the greatest additions. I mean, even just the perks alone, not even just talking about Widow's Wine, they had their own jingles. No other map has done this before. Everything about this map was personalized. Even the Pack-a-Punch looks like a giant rift portal that was blue like Origins, but when you pulled it out, it looked like Mob of the Dead, which is in the same universe. Treyarch thought of this years before, and we had no clue. They bamboozled us. This map really did bring a lot, and everything about this map feels like this map. No thing is taken from another map and put in this map. This map is it alone. If anything, things are taken from this map and put into others. This really did add a lot, and even if you didn't like your sword and, you know, all that cool nonsense, you had even the ability to upgrade your sword. I mean, upgrades were finally being normalized within Origins, but I mean, this is literally a sword that follows you around, and you don't even have to swing it at the end of the day. You can be shooting all you want, and this thing will protect you. And speaking of protecting, the zombie shield wasn't just a zombie shield, it was a rocket shield. Although it wasn't amazing, it was still an addition. Great, 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 great. And speaking of great, the Rising Track. I mean, this map alone, it isn't exactly the most innovative, and it doesn't really evolutionize zombies all too much. It's kind of a copy and paste, at least in my eyes. But Shadows of Evil really does what carries the innovation. It keeps the progress to zombies going forward. But the Rising Track, I mean, you had these dragons, and well, they get you your bows, which you will need. They're not exactly a necessity. I shouldn't say need, but there's something you want and actually want to grind. Unlike Origins, this was actually fairly easy to get. I mean, all you had to do was fill up the dragons with about 8 kills, and you unlock the Wrath of the Ancients. This was a pretty powerful bow. It wasn't exactly the best, but this was just kind of your hold off until you got, well, the upgraded bow, and usually just people got the lightning bow. This thing alone just absolutely decimated zombies. I mean, just whirlpools of damage. This map added some sort of things like the bows upgraded, but really it just added panzers, a cool looking map that honestly just kind of looks like Origins, and kind of Call of the Dead mixed in with it in a castle. Call me crazy, but Rising Track didn't add too much. I mean, you had the DG vibes. The only thing that really innovated with Rising Track in my eyes is if you grinded the Easter egg, you got to do a boss fight, which was the first in Treyarch's history, which is pretty nifty. I mean, it is a pretty simple boss. It follows the 3 health rule, everything like that. Pretty simple, but this map does everything well, and hence why it's really appreciated. Although it didn't evolve too much, it evolved just enough for the zombies community to enjoy it and actually thrive off it, which Black Ops 3 did immensely. I mean, the whole game itself evolved. The Rising Track was one of those maps that really did carry the zombies community, and it did do some sort of evolving, although it wasn't too much. The thing about this map, it could have done more, but it's perfectly fine of how much evolved. I mean, it didn't have too many things. You had some side Easter eggs like the skeleton one or the plunger one. They're pretty cool and funny. They're new, innovative, but also not exactly something you want to grind. I mean, the zombies themselves were pretty easy to kill. The skeletons were harder. The plunger wasn't really worth it. It did one hit panzers though, which was actually really, really cool. I mean, not many like weapons do that. That itself could be considered a wonder weapon. The golden spork, I would say, would be the only thing considered to be compared to the plunger itself. Even though the golden sport does fall off about around 32, and I think the plunger falls off about 35. So although, like I said, not too much with the Horizon track, it does still bring a lot, and it was a really fun experience. I mean, you had the giant like telespheres where you can jump across the map, the rocket, kept you on your toes. This map it did. Now that's Monoshima. It literally just look. The thing about this map, it doesn't add all too much. I mean, it changes things like the power sources. It's really just Plants vs. Zombies at the end of the day. It's not a bad thing. The map does add some pretty cool things, I would say, but mainly they're things to help you within, say, the Easter egg. I mean, if you like spiders and your perks to be tangled up, this map's probably for you. This map does add, like I said, Plants vs. Zombies. I mean, literally, most of the time for the Easter egg, you are planting plants and watering them. Every time you got to go back to them, but they actually do grow you some stuff, which is new to zombies, which is very innovative, and things that were actually kind of enjoyed by the community. It was really split in between who actually liked the plan idea. Personally, I thought it was actually really good. Being able to grow weapons, perks, lives, that was a great idea. And the thing about this map is it did add challenge, like say Shadows of Evil with the sword, but on this hand you had something that just was completely different. A skull that killed enemies. Also, this map, like I said, webs, spiders are the boss rather. This is a really innovative addition to the game, especially because you're on a Japanese island that experimented a lot. Pretty cool. I thought it was really nice and something that kept pushing. It wasn't the same old stale. Same with the Thrashers. Although I hate them, I literally hate them so much, they did add extra gameplay, and you could be swallowed by these things. I mean, Treyarch was really off the hook with Black Ops 3 Zombies. Then even just Zetsubo alone, I mean, the Pack-a-Punch, every time you Pack-a-Punch within this game, it was something different. To get the specialist within the game, it was something different. Although it could be a challenge, it could be something that's more of a skill, it's more of a task. It really did change, and within this map, you did get something great. I mean, the sword is really good, but the skull and on top way, I mean, you literally cannot compare to this thing. And something that didn't really compare as much to the other maps within this map was the KT4. And now this thing is good, don't get me wrong, but like the Boomhilda, this thing is also a tool. It is used to water plants, it's used to grow bullets, all that nonsense. I mean, it is good. It's one of the wonder weapons that's a slow burn kind of kill. I mean, if you get stuck in a situation, you're not going to get out of it too much. It kills and destroys spider webs, which unlocks you the spider boss fight, arguably one of the coolest bosses. I mean, this is just an evolution of its alone. Okay, I mean, it's a giant spider, number one, but a mini boss within zombies. I mean, we didn't really get this, and Zetsubo no Shima is what brought that. Even though maps have brought mini bosses, it wasn't like this. I mean, this is literally a staged arena based on the mini boss within it. So it was a mini boss that got up to a boss, which is really cool, really something different. And also, if you ran out of ammo in this, you died, which was awful. I don't know why I didn't notice the ammo. And yeah, I died in the easiest boss fight. Now, Garrod Krovi, on the other hand, this alone brought so much evolution. Not necessarily innovation. I mean, you did get things like the wrench, the melee weapon challenges, which started here, by the way. You got Groff modules, manglers. I mean, evolution was just brewing on this map. I mean, you have a literal dragon. You ride a dragon, it breathes fire, and if that's not enough for you, your literal wrist becomes a dragon nest. I mean, once you get your ability within this map simply by completing challenges, since this map is a harder challenge, they wanted to acquire that within it. You got a dragon on your fist. I mean, this thing was pretty cool. In order to pack a punch on this map, you had set challenges. All of this map was ultimately a net of challenges, and it was the one map that actually truly challenged players within Black Ops 3. It was pretty simple and easy within all the other maps, but this map is what really brought the challenge, I would say. The evolution within this map was sort of for a turn in terms of easiness. I mean, you have manglers that literally break. They literally break you instantly. The zombies are way faster and stronger. I would more so compare them to Origins, but not as powerful, I would say. You know, they're not really as strong as the BO2 ones, but they are fast and quick and nimble. The addition of the Electrobots that constantly block doors, shock you, Gersh actually being introduced in this map. really cool. This map added a lot to the picture of Black Ops 3, and it finally summed up the entirety of the Black Ops 3 kind of wrap up to the end, which was Revelations. I mean, Revelations wasn't exactly the best. I mean, everything about this map is just added in, so if you're expecting something really innovative about this map, you've came to the wrong place. I mean, Revelations is something fun and something different. It didn't add all too much. I mean, it added masks to the game, which didn't really change too much about the gameplay. It just made you overpowered. This map alone didn't really add too much, and kind of this is where the story and the gameplay of zombies starts to fall apart, and you can tell what happened after Black Ops 3. I mean, I didn't even want to record Black Ops 4, and it's just not it. I mean, they changed everything about this game. It does have innovation, don't get me wrong, so I will congratulate Treyarch for that, but that doesn't mean it was good. The thing about this game is it evolutionized perks to the point where in reality they just became worse. You didn't get as many as you wanted. You couldn't even get extra perks in forms of side Easter eggs, which this game really didn't have all too much. It didn't really grip the player's attention all around. It just didn't do good, but I'm not focusing on that. I mean, things about this game were actually pretty good besides Blood of the Dead. It didn't add much, but 9, on the other hand, did. I mean, this map alone should be just preyed upon. I mean, you're literally within a gladiator arena surrounded by the gods, which are your perks, hence why you have Dano, Razes, and Odin. I mean, this map was personally built for Black Ops 4. This is the one map that actually feels good, even though it has the Black Ops 4 system. I mean, this map actually adds tigers. They're reskins of dogs, but they are something different. You have axe throwers, the giant blight flothers. They all come from this map and originate. I mean, this map alone introduces the Greek mythology, which is super cool, and honestly I thought it was pretty cool back in the day. It really ties in with the Ancient Evil. It didn't really grip too many players, but it's something different, and Treyarch Blundell really did try to innovate the story, change it up. Ether was trying to wrap up, but players couldn't exactly get around that in their heads, which was unfortunate and honestly a pity on the zombies community. I mean, this map did add a lot, but unfortunately the forms of Black Ops 4 systems, I mean, you spawn with wonder weapons, wraith fires, gobblegums, literally with all in the start. It really teared away, but that's not 9 itself. 9 itself is really cool. It does have a lot of layers, and the wonder weapon of this map is actually really cool. You have an underground area, prison areas, and you have a literal scorpion as a wonder weapon. If this alone doesn't show how zombies has evolved, you know what weapon we started on for wonder weapons? A ray gun, something that's been in comic history for years. I mean, literally, if you look at the Moon comic book page, that's on it. And you know how long comics have been around? Don't even ask me, because I don't know. This weapon alone was really, really cool, and you don't really see an animal as a... You know how I glorified 9? I'm about to do the opposite with Voyage of Despair. You would think with the grand idea, they're like, hey, let's be innovative and add the Titanic. It didn't work out. For some reason, they couldn't just make the rooms bigger. I understand the Titanic and how, it was pretty crowded. But it's a zombies video game. Come on. How do you butcher? This map was so not innovative. They literally took the whole plot of the but the whole plot of the Titanic and just crashed. I mean, the Easter egg of this map, since Black Ops 4 is mainly just that itself, is just Easter eggs, it just takes it away. Literally, the Titanic doesn't crash. Nothing like that happens, and the map itself isn't very innovative. I mean, it has a very poor layout. It doesn't have something that's really gripping, and many players couldn't fill this map. A lot of people wasted their time on this, and it was a map that was really good, and honestly, nothing was brought within this map. Nada. And the thing about oh my god, this is just Black Ops 4 as a whole. I feel like I'm not even going to show gameplay at this point. It wasn't something to be had. I mean, Ancient Evil was one of the actual just maps that shown off how Black Ops 4 and how the Chaos story really was, which was really beautiful, to be honest. I mean, the whole form of the Greek mythology was really cool. Just the way the story was told was really bad. I mean, Treyarch in the past has innovated so much, and they've done so well with it. They've introduced so many people, like the people with Mob of the Dead, Shadows of Evil, Call of the Dead. People gripped onto those characters, and they just couldn't do that within, Chaos Crew. It just was not it. Not a lot of people liked it, even though it did have a really good story and it had a good twist. I mean, honestly, it did. It kind of threw me off. It was confusing, but it was more of a confusing, like, oh wow, like what happened, you know? Ancient Evil really did bring that, and it's unfortunate to see how Chaos Crew just got cut, but at the end of the day, it is about uninnovative how Voyage of Despair, I think, was. I mean, 9 was really taken well, Ancient Evil was, but people weren't really, you know, moved by the story. And it's not just necessarily the Ether Crew and the love for them, it's more so how just the Chaos Crew couldn't innovate and really couldn't bring to the table. I mean, Dead of the Night itself, I mean, literally it innovated a little too much to the point players didn't even want to play it. I mean, you have like 80 spawn points, an Easter egg that doesn't make sense, werewolves, Nosferatu, all that nonsense, and you don't really get rewarded for it either. Usually within the innovation of Origins, Horizon, Dragon Shadows of Evil, you do get the wonder weapons, the power, but you don't really get that within these crews. I mean, just itself was just not, it wasn't going very well. And I don't know. It's just one of those things that just wasn't taken very well, and it's understandably why. But on the other hand, I mean, there weren't exactly great things to say about the Ether Crew either. I mean, these guys were just going downhill. I mean, after Revelations, like I said, I mean, this was hitting the fan. I mean, it was literally just remaster after remaster after remaster. Literally, we got Nuketown and then Call of the Dead, but they butchered my boy. They bring back Victus from the Transit Crew to a very unexpected present. I mean, it was just not that good. I mean, and I'll take a little bit of time out of Cold War itself just to say how uninnovative Togdertone was. It's mainly because of budget. But Cold War itself, I mean, can I say it is innovative and evolutionary? I cannot. The thing about this game is it's just the maps that hold it back. I mean, Treyarch really did put in some work, some new ideas, field upgrades. I could say that itself brought a lot, but we're talking about like D Machine, Firebase C, Tone. We're not talking about the game itself. We're talking about the actual map. I mean, D Machine is pretty alright, it's pretty stable. It does add elemental pop, which is actually pretty cool. The dark ether portals, which does add to gameplay and adds like that wow factor to it. The Easter egg is very meh. The only part that really grips the player, which understandably is the Orloff plot of the story. The wonder weapons aren't very good and not really rewarding. Same goes for Firebase C as well. I mean, it's ultimately the same thing. Although it is a different map and a different experience, this map only adds two really different things about it. You get the Orda event, and you get the addition of the, what's that super gun called? The Ray K84. It's ultimately just the ray gun, so I could just say the Mimic at that point, but ultimately you do get what I'm trying to say. It didn't really add too much, say like Mob of the Dead, Call of the Dead, Ascension. Maps aren't really getting to the point where we're like, wow. It's more so like we're asking for the bare minimum, and that's really what Firebase C and D Machine did, unfortunately. But that does not mean Tone did so as well. I mean, this map actually did snap. I can't lie. It's not exactly like a, you know, absolute amazing map. You know, there are things wrong with it, but it is the best of the best of the bad situation, and that's kind of what we got with Cold War. It does bring actually some pretty cool systems to it, like the rappel back from Call of the Dead, which was actually not too much innovative in the grand scheme of things because it's already been done before, but it does flow on this map, and because Cold War does feel different, it does make it feel newer, to be honest. And since Call of the Dead's so old, I mean, I didn't really even remember it, to be honest. This map adds a really cool wonder weapon that literally talks to you. It changes, it literally evolves. It's so innovative of an idea. It literally talks, and it switched to an auto rifle, to a missile launcher, a beam, right? Like, it's literally everything in just one weapon, which is really cool. And the grand thing about this weapon is too, you don't really have to work all too hard for it. All you do is a little mini Easter egg or do some trials. That's it. I mean, it's a really cool idea what they did with the CRBR, you know, S. Pretty cool. I really did enjoy this map alone. Not too much Cold War, but I mean, you know, I don't know. That could just be like a me thing, but I just did not really think that Firebase Eve was really, you know, in that ballpark. But yeah, that's just a me thing. Same with D Machine, but Mauer or Toten, they did a pretty solid job with it. But I mean, hey, if you made it this far, you deserve a cookie. I love you. And another thing too, I have a Discord now, so check the description. You know, it's one of those videos where it's really long and all that. So I mean, on that, gamers, I mean, if you made it this far, you deserve a cookie. And I'll see you guys in the next one. I hope you have a wonderful day. See ya.